Hey, what's up, guys? It's T-Bone here. Welcome to another stream. And today it is, the day that we get our relics. And so what I want to do in today's stream, actually a little bit different than what I've been doing on the previous Thursday streams, is I'm going to actually showcase some of my decks more as I go through the bosses. Right now, what I'm doing is just going to go through the guild bosses a little bit, and I'm going to talk about some of the deck ideas that I have. Now, keep in mind, I don't actually have the event deck. I only have the support card, so I don't have the event card or the master collection card. In fact, if you take a look, it's one today. This event is one of the events where just less lucky than usual. So I do have multiple duplicates. People have been asking, hey, do you ever get duplicates? I do. So here's 4 of them. And I do have a couple of dupes here for my ultra rare as well. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to be getting any of the cards here, but it's okay. It's one of those things where I would have liked it. I really like the artwork of the cards, so I really enjoy the sort of the artwork for Princess Riverine and Stonetail, as well as the ultra rare card here. I think that it's really nice. I just unfortunately I couldn't get it. Anyway, so I was just saying hi to the people that are joining me on the stream here. Be like Billy, Debbie, Mr. Hawkland, Sandra, and Arcadian Assassin, Queen Femme Fatale. Have a good hope everybody's having a good day, good evening, and so what I mentioned earlier when the stream started is I definitely am going to still take a look at some of the decks from the viewers today. So Sandra, I do have your in-game name in there. I'll take a look. And hello, Nari. But what I actually want to do a little bit is I wanted to showcase some of the decks that I've built right now. I tried to do a little bit in the video I did yesterday, but that was more just, an attempt to highlight the Reforged heroes. So I actually thought that the Reforged the Flameflow Hair was better than I had expected. And so I just kind of wanted to showcase how you could be successful with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take sort of walk you through some of the decks I've built using my cards. It's been a while since I've sort of, showcased cards based on what I've got and build a couple of decks around it. So I thought that I would show 4 of those and kind of, play these and sort of tell you what is sort of my thought process as I built these and how these actually play out. And then I'm going to continue to push on the trophies a little bit. And then throughout the stream, I am going to jump into a couple of the people here to help you with the deck building. So it's probably going to be less of me just going to everybody else's profiles. In today's stream, I'm going to do a little bit of both. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So that does mean I'm going to have less of a chance to get through everyone's, but I am going to take a look at some. So I do have Sandra Alvarez, and it looks like Mr. Hawkland. So these are the 2 right now, but I'm going to get started. So I'm going to take a look at, I'm going to tell you about the first sort of cards here. Now, so Infernal Squall and Galena is sort of the main theme of this particular deck here. There are other cards that do similar things here, but basically you have Galena, which is a card that does have a gem fall mechanic, and in fact she'll increase a gem fall by 40 gems. So this is a better version of other sort of fire type gem rain type cards. So if you have her, this is a good card to use, even though she is not a commander. And then Infernal Squall is a card that was available in one of the starter packs a few fire events ago. So hopefully if you've gotten her, this is the card that you could use. So this is a card that is actually pretty good because you can actually destroy all non-fire gems, and it will create additional fire gem 2s based on that. Now, her passive skill isn't that great because it only mimics if there is a Thula's Firestorm active, so you do need to make sure that you hit you hit 3 times, and it's only a 50%. It's not a guarantee, so I don't actually have her in the deck. I originally tried putting Thula in the deck, but it just didn't really quite work out. And then so I have a Reforged Lepora here as well. She's actually a really good Reforged Fire Commander card. So again, I did this in my previous stream. I highly recommend it. And then Huntress Legata, she's not a great gem spawner, but she does heal a little bit. Although for sort of the team I'm building here, it's really kind of like a turn 2 type type deck, and so you're not really going to see too much of her benefit there. And this is where I wish that she created a little bit more fire gems. And of course, this is one of those things where if there was polarity, if I had the cards for polarity, I could have showed it, but unfortunately I don't. And then Crimson Vengeance is another card that you could get from the collections. I wanted to showcase how she would work. So she benefits the most when you have a lot of gems on the board, and so having Galena and Infernal Squall actually really works well. And so you want to make sure that the activation order is done in the specific way. And seeing a few more people here. So Naya, Jonathan, Adrian, and Armando and Gary, welcome to the stream. So as I was mentioning earlier, today I'm going to focus a little bit more on playing and using the decks I've built to talk about them a little, kind of going back to some of the original videos I've done in the past, but I am going to sort of go through some of your profiles as well and give some recommendations. Let me know also what you think about the event this time. How are you doing, and how do you feel about the deck if you actually got it? All right, so let's take a look at this first deck. So it's all pretty similar, and I'm going to show a very similar build after this as well. So I'm just using one key, and this is a good opportunity to push my guild boss up a little higher as well. And so, on the first turn, I didn't talk about the relics, but basically I also put in as many relics as I could that spawn power gems just to increase the damage a little bit. And so this deck has two Generation 3 heroes, and the rest of them are all Generation 2. And so I've set it up so that all you have to do is activate from left to right. So you activate Galena and then Fire Squall, and so you can see all of the power gems that are created here. And then Lepora will create 3 more, and then you can use Huntress Legata to almost fill the board, and then Crimson Vengeance will then create some additional power gems there. And so then this is where then you just do the power gem swap, and you can sort of see how much damage this actually deals. So with the two Generation 3 cards, that's really where you're going to be getting your damage. With one key, I was able to get about 5 billion damage. And so this is a good sort of setup that you can use to get that overkill for your regular bosses, because your regular bosses will probably be, let's take a look, at 300, it only got 1.8 billion. Right, and so if you're kind of looking for ideas for decks, feel free to go out of the sort of the box a little bit. Look for a theme. Like the way I'm thinking about these was really, I'm not just looking for the battle skill necessarily. I'm really looking for, like, what am I trying to do? Like, what are the things I'm really trying to focus on? And that is all about just looking for ways to maximize my gem match capability. And so that's one of the teams here. Now let's take a look at another version. So event 2 here. So I'm going to show two of these, and then I'm going to jump into Sandra's profile. We'll take a look at your cards, and then we'll help you, and then I'll jump back into another deck I'm going to showcase. And I see also Catherine, and so Arcadian, you don't really like the deck. Yeah, so let me know. Tell me more. I'm interested to see what are the things that you don't like about the deck, because I was really curious about it. I didn't think it was going to be amazing, although I did see some screenshots of people that have the full deck and they're just doing some really good damage there. So I'm just kind of curious. And I missed Paul, so saying hi Paul there as well. And so Catherine, you got 2 support and 2 event, can't seem to do any real damage. I wish I could help. I think that it's probably one of those cases where with your deck, you need something else that can give you power gem capability. And so now let's take another look here. So I switched up a little bit. And so this deck, actually I need to switch this. This is wrong. So let me go ahead and switch this for a second. So for this particular deck, again, I kept Galena in there, and I put in the Night Sun. So the Night Sun is the card that will actually destroy gems, non-fire gems, but it doesn't create any power gems. So this is the older version of a gem destroyer, but it works. And if you have him, so now this is 2 Slayer cards, and then again I'm keeping Lepora in here, and then I put in the Fire Flare Dilophosphaera in here because he is a power gem spawner. It creates 4 power gem ones, and so just kind of balancing out the 2 Slayer cards in here, I have 3 Generation 3 heroes, and I round it out with Huntress Legata. Again, the goal here is to try to maximize the total number of gems on the board, and let's see how much damage we can do with this particular team here. So let's switch over to event 2. So, I always I always arrange my cards too from left to right, so I can activate either right to left or right or left to right. Left to right or right to left, depending on my mood here. But this particular deck is sorted so that I can just activate from left to right, and that way I don't have to think about it and I don't make a mistake. And so, I would recommend sort of getting into the habit of figuring out, once you figure out the order of cards, do it so that you can actually doing one shot sort of all the way through from left to right. And also notice what I did there is as much as possible, look for ways to save your power gems on turn 1 for these type of decks. So let's go ahead and activate from left to right here. And the reason why Huntress Legata is on the very far right is because she only creates regular gems, and when you have a regular gem on the team with power gem spawners, you want to have them be activated last. And so let's see here with this particular setup, we have pretty good drops there. And this particular setup, we were able to deal a little over 4 billion, actually close to 5 billion as well. And that is because Night Sun didn't create additional power gems, so everything came from just the power gems that I was able to create myself, including the relics there. And if I had used Infernal Squall instead of so we can show you right here, if I had used Infernal Squall instead of the Night Sun, I would be dealing a lot more damage there. And so I'm just going to quickly show you this, and then I'm going to hop into Sandra's profile. I have not forgotten about you there. Okay, so now in this case, I'm going to switch out my Ancient Relic, and I'm going to put in a, so I'm going to change out Ancient, and I'm going to put in a Creature Relic. So right now I have 4. Actually, I have, do I have 4? I am not using any of the, I'm using a giant one, and I'm using the ancient card. So I have 4 power gem spawning relics here. So that's why it's going to help out. So let's go and do this one, and then we will jump in. So let's take a look at the comments here. So P-Town 27, okay. So there's a list of people that have already put their name as well. But again, one of the things I mentioned at the beginning of the stream is this time around, I'm going to play more, and then I'm going to I'm going to spend less of the time just purely looking at everybody's decks, although that's not to say I don't want to. It's just I think that there's value in actually showing how the decks work, so that we could play out, test it out, and if unfortunately, this time around, I won't be able to try out the event deck just because I don't have it. So I'm going to have to take your word for how you feel about them. And so with this, change, my damage jumped up to over 6 billion because I was able to create more, 2 things. 1, because I was able to create more power gems, and 2, because Infernal Squall is a commander, so I got more attack boost there. All right, so let's take a look here. So Hokeeper, you like it. You've had fun mixing Dinos and Thoth. And yeah, so I think that's the thing. If you have Thoth and you have a card that can actually generate power gems, then you will definitely be doing a lot of really good damage there. And so let's see, we've got the skill don't stack. I've heard some interesting stories about the skills as well for the previous ultimate form. So I'm interested to see if you have any insights on that. Okay, and we've also Nari is using the ultimate form Tiger deck and the giant deck. Okay, glad to hear that it actually works out. Okay, so Catherine McIntyre, I'm not using Fire Slayer relics. No, I don't actually, because it doesn't really help me. My Fire Slayer relics won't create any power gems, and it only boosts Fire Slayer, so it doesn't. It's not something that I should be adding just because it will actually make my team have less damage. All right, so now let's take a little bit of a break. Let's switch gears and take a look at Sandra's deck, and we've got Sandruxi. And so let's take a look and see what you're running with. And so you have the Reforged Stellar Rabbit. Now I do have the Stellar Rabbit, but I chose not to reforge it because I do like the fact that it's a card that can generate a lot of power gems. So I decided not to go with that. And you've got, let's see. So you've got 2 copies of the Master Collection card. Is that right? And you've got Bosco as well as Huntress Legata. All right. And so let's take a look to see if there's any other choices here. So you've also got the Soul Thresher. Now, so Reforged Stellar Rabbit, I believe what it does is heals and it creates 8 fire gems. Yes, it does. Okay. And so this deck here, event deck, will be a deck that you need. So you have 2 special relics, which is good. That will generate 10 special intensity each turn. So every turn that passes, you'll be able to create 2 power gems from your Soul Thresher. All right, and then I think this creates 2 power gem force, and it adds polarity. But then polarity only sort of comes into effect on the 3rd turn. And so basically, you want, I guess the way you play this is you'll want to activate your 2 Master Collection heroes, and then try not to match any of the gems. Wait for 3 turns. Wait for the power gems to spawn again, and then activate your Soul Threshers, and then reforge Stellar Rabbit. If you were to play this deck, that's how I would play it anyways. And you also have the Volcanic Quill Drag, so that's a good card to use there. I do have that, and I didn't showcase that. So I'm not sure if you're looking to improve on the current team there, but I'm assuming that if you would have used Ra or Thoth if you had it, and since I don't see it in the deck, I'm going to assume that you don't actually have those cards. And that looks to be the case here. Yeah, but it is going to be the starter pack this coming Saturday, so it'll be a good card to add in there. I think it will be, it'll definitely help increase your damage for your deck there. All right. So let me know if I missed something, because just looking at your cards, I think that it's pretty good. Like, I like what you've done. I like what you set up there. So I think just play it the way I mentioned might help you there. And then we've got Hawkland. I'll be going into your deck next, and afterwards I'm gonna go back and play some of my cards, because I have a couple more decks I wanted to show. And I think, let me just make sure I got Hawkland. Okay. And so let's take a look and see. And how are you guys using all of the slots yet? Because that was a really good change. And I also don't have the Fire Tiger team. That was the event where I actually took some time off on vacation, so I don't have this deck. I'm pretty sad about it. I really liked it, but I don't. Unfortunately, I can't use it. All right, so it looks like you've got a combination of the Impaled Huntress. I need to remind myself what this actually does. So this will create. It'll create 2 power gem force, and will dispel a buff next time you're hit by an enemy. So that's nice. It actually dispels fear, and so you'll create power gems, and it will create 4 power gem force. All right, so I guess it creates quite a few power gems there, because when you get hit, it creates 2 power gem force. All right, so that, and then you have Raw. So you got. So I'm not sure if you really need my help, given that you have Thoth and two Raws and this card here. I'm assuming you're doing pretty good damage there already. So is there anything else that I could help with? Let's take a look. But I think that, that is how I would have set my deck as well. The only other thing would have been if you had the Master Collection card from the previous Fire Giants event. But, besides that, I think you're doing all the right things there. Can't really complain. Now, the only thing that I can think of is this is just one single Generation 3 hero on this team. And so you are going to be a little bit limited in your damage. And what I found is adding adding another Ra here would be good, but it's not going to make your Huntress Legata deal that much more damage. So what you could try and do is also try putting in, even though it's just a support card, just for fun, put in a Smoltosaurus and see if your overall damage increases with that setup. Okay, so give that a try. All right, jumping back to the teams I wanted to showcase. So I've talked about these sort of Gemfall decks, and now I'm going to talk about some of the more powerful decks I have built there, not using any of the event cards though. So before that, I'm just going to take a look to see if I missed anything specific. And just saying hi to everybody. Sorry, I missed it a little bit as I'm talking through the cards here. And so let's see. Yeah, so I guess I just answered your question, Mr. Hawklands. Yes, I think that replacing one of the Raws might help. With Soul Thresher, the problem is it doesn't really do anything unless you have a relic for it, and so it's also not a Generation 3 hero. So the issue really is you want to have more damage, and you might try putting a Generation 3 card just to give it a try. All right. So this third event deck here, I am using one single Raw, and I do have my Magma Ventrix. Now I have 2 copies of these, and what I wanted to talk about here is I basically used up all of my Fire Spirit, my Fire Wisps to level them up, and I had a choice. So given that I had 2 of them, I was trying to decide whether to go evenly and sort of awaken them, evenly, so that I save some of my my mana. But I decided to put them all into single one because in the future, if I ever get in a situation where I only have enough slot for a single Magma Ventrix, I want him to be as powerful as possible. And the overall damage actually kind of works out because this is always going up by 20%. And so sort of distributing it across 2 or having it all in a single card actually doesn't make that much of a difference in a commander setting. And so in this case, because my overall total damage is about the same, I just decided to keep it in 1. So that's sort of just my thoughts on this. So anyways, so this deck is all about, power gem creation. So I have the Fire Flare, the Lava Sphera as well, and then I have the Reforged Lapora, and then here I put in the Reforged Flamefoot O'Hare, although I probably should just put in the event support card here. Probably just put in Huntress Legata so that I benefit from the from my relic as well. So this team obviously is not going to require. Somebody didn't finish off the boss here. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this out. And so this deck, it's actually pretty easy. And I didn't do what I said I would, and I just, sort of make it go from left to right. I didn't actually finish building this one, but I was kind of playing around. So this one, instead, I'm going to go from right to left. So my usual sort of, the way I normally play is I always go for sort of Power 4 generation heroes first, but in this case, it doesn't really matter here. And so this is where I actually did that incorrectly. I needed to switch Ra and Huntress Legata. But yeah, so this team, deals a ton of damage, and it's not quite enough for overkill for a legend hero, but it's one of those things where you just kind of have to build on that. So the next team I wanted to talk about is taking into account that we will be getting the starter pack, and should you go after the ultra rare card or not, and how would you play it if you had that deck? So what I wanted to show in this deck is some of my ideas for what you could do, and the reason why I put in Soul Thresher in this particular deck. And so let me just take a look and make sure. See, so Sleep Z was lucky to get a UR, got a decent commander deck, main hero, 2 copy support, ultra rare, but the PG ones I have to take the Fire Slayer. Oh, I see. So congratulations from getting the ultra rare. It is a card that I will not be able to get. But I was curious, we've had some teams now, some events where the event team themselves could do pretty well. So I guess, what are you currently using if you have to mix and match? Is it just all coming back to Ra? If so, then I think it's a good thing that we will be getting this in a couple of days. And so Zuzu MacDuck, I can evolve various cards, just don't know which ones they're best to evolve. Generally, if you want to evolve cards, make sure that they actually have a purpose. Given how expensive it is to evolve older cards, you have to buy these tokens and whatnot. I would say and also the catalyst, whatnot. Don't evolve cards for the sake of it if you're not going to use it. Just evolve cards if there's a use for them. If it's a good power gen spawner, or if it's a good gem spawner, healer, etc. But otherwise, I would hold off on using your catalyst there. Okay, and so let's see. And yeah, we do have the Dragons deck. I haven't actually played around with it much, but I will probably give it a try. Anyways, so what I wanted to talk about here is how you should use this team. So we have APEP, which actually creates gems, and also Cobra King is the card that will actually generate the power gems for you. And so I'm just going to rearrange this a little bit. And so this is actually a 3-turn type deck, and so it's one of those decks that's a little bit harder to play. So I'm going to show you how this works out. So I'm going to use 1 key again, and now because it's a 3-turn deck, it is going to be a problem if you're going up against the guild boss that casts fear, and that is a reason. That's the only reason why I have Soul Thresher in here. If you're going up against a different, debuff, then I would obviously switch it out. I used the wrong team here. Sorry, let me switch it out. Let's go ahead and use this one. So you're using APEP for the God Relic. You think it needs to change? So what do you mean? Tell me more. What do you think needs to change? All right, so the first thing you want to do when you play this deck is you want to make sure you can get a Power Gem 4 on turn 1. So you see I have a Power Gem 4 that is on the bottom left here. And in fact, I have 2 of them. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and activate this card here. Although I don't know if I need to activate APEP, but I'm just going to go ahead and do a gem match. So after you activate Cobra, then you do a gem match. Then what it's going to do is it's going to create 2 additional Power Gem 4s, which is what you need in order to actually activate Ra. And so now I'm going to go ahead and activate everything else. And so you see I have the 10. Do I have the 10 gems there? And then I can go ahead and activate this for now, just so that I can get my the lag sucks. That made me miss my my attack. So the team damage isn't that great here, but so I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch out APEP. I'm gonna take APEP out. I need a little bit more damage there. So this is sort of what I do too. Like when I play decks, I go against the guild boss so that I can save keys there. I don't like the idea of wasting my keys to try something out for against the solo boss, because I want to save that. So let's try this again. I didn't think I got as many power gems as I needed there. So let's try this one more time. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you actually get a power gem 4 on turn 1, because then what it will do is it will actually create a it'll create Power Gem 4 when it attacks, and it also will... Oh, I know what happened. I need to have... that was a silly mistake. I haven't played this in a while, so that's what happened. All right, so what I need to do is... It only works if I have enough God Intensity. So because I don't have enough God Intensity, I need to actually create 3 total, I believe. Or I need to create 2 total. And then what it will do is it will pass this to another God card. And then what I'll do is I'm going to activate this. And I think I might have activated I might have taken out my other Power Gem 4. So that hopefully I didn't. So I didn't. So I was able to get my Power Gem lined up there. So that's what I needed to do. I haven't played in a while, so I got confused. So this is a way you would want to play the ultra rare card if you got it from the starter pack, because we'll take a look here. The card itself does have a requirement where when it attacks, it will create Power Gem 4 as a passive, and when you activate the card, it will actually apply the chaos to one hero and then another one for every 100 God intensity. So really what that means is you want to make sure that you can activate the more God intensity you have, the more Power Gem 4s you'll create when you activate this card and do a match. But you have to activate and then do the match in order to take advantage there. And so you see here with this particular setup, it didn't really work quite well until I put in a 2nd generation 3 card. And so it's, you sort of have to really balance it out and sort of see. And so my current team that I am using, just gonna kind of show you, I'm actually using this team right now. So I got really lucky with my master collection cards when the in that last time, and so I'm currently able to use a single key against the 300 legends. So I'm doing okay this event. I don't feel compelled to actually spend, but even with this though, I still wanted to experiment. It actually took me a little bit of experimentation to sort of figure out, like, all right, what cards do I put in there. I've sort of I put in the Reforged card, and also I try putting the Reforged Lepora, and also put in the Flamefoot O'Hare. Finally, I ended up deciding on putting the Huntress Legata. Now, my challenge right now is figuring out how to get 500% overkill on the Ultra Boss, which I'm still not currently able to do. So anyways, so that's sort of the team I wanted to show. And now I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and let's take a look at some of the people who have requested to take a look at your cards, and I will jump in right now. So I looked at Hawklands, and let's see. So I think the next person that I'm also trying to see if there's anybody that might have requested that I haven't seen in a while. And so let's see. So, okay, you know what? I'm going to go and take a look at Robin Frost. So Nosdormu. And so let's see. I see you got Alex and 2 Soul Threshers. You got Huntress Legata and Smoldersaurus. So it looks like you probably just have the support card if I am guessing correctly. Yeah, but you do have the Volcanic Quilldrak. I probably should just try that deck and play a little bit. And you have the Embered Morrison. So I really like that mechanic where you can use that in the ultimate boss. So if you use that and you have the Reforged Flame O'Hare, for example, or any other cards, or a delay card, you can really do some good damage there. And so in your case, I think you might actually be better off putting in your Quilldrak in place of Alex here, so that you at least get some of that power gem, and also you get the commander bonus here. Alex isn't really going to help in the short term. I can see that what you're doing is you're basically trying to get the power going, so this is going to be okay for a longer term fight. But I am curious what you have for the short term, sort of the one key scenario, and not sure if this is. So this is a Slayer team, so I'm not sure if that's what you're using. I should take a look. But yeah, so given that, I think, if you're looking for a shorter term, sort of, 2-3 turn fight, I would recommend putting in your Quilldrak in there just to build up a little bit of your overall damage there. Okay. And let's see. So I'm just gonna scroll down and take a look here. Now, some of the people I've seen, many times. I'm just gonna take a look just to make sure that I give other people who might be new, who haven't really had a chance to look at, just give them some help as well. So let's see. So Gregor G. So let's take a look. Your name looks new, so welcome to the stream if you're just joining us for the first time here. So, and the team that you're looking at, so let's see, make sure that I'm looking at the right team here. So your team is Grun? This is the one? Okay. Well, you've got Magma Ventrix, you've got Volcanic Quilldrak, and you've got Polycath. So Soul Thresher, I think that you probably are looking at decent damage. Now, it's probably not going to be great because I think the overall gem spawn capability is still a little bit lacking there. So I think instead of the Soul Thresher, so Soul Thresher is good for dispelling fear. Otherwise, it's not that great for, just short-term type attacks. If you wanted to, you might consider putting in Crimson Vengeance. You'll do similar thing, just because you could get some power gems, or you can actually take your 5-star Lepora and you can just reforge it right away at 5 stars. You don't need to evolve it to 6 stars. You can evolve her at 5 stars. you can reforge at 5 stars and then evolve her using a fire essence to 6 stars, and you can use her in place of your soul thresher, and you're going to get much better damage outputs with that. If you have at least 2 Generation 3 heroes, you're going to get better damage output than with just a single one. Although with Volcanic Quilldrak and also Blazing Argoli Polycath, that's going to be pretty good there. So that's what I would do. Try reforging your Lepora. Even though it's 5 stars, you no longer need to worry about not having the the catalyst. And just to help you out, how you can get the where you can get the reforged catalyst. Hopefully, if you're high enough level, you're going through the gear dungeons, and you're going through to get the gear tokens, because this is where you're going to be able to get the shards needed for the commander charm. You do need 20 of those, so you need a total of 60 tokens if you have that. And then the other one is in the daily dungeon. So if you go to the dark dungeon and then you go to the daily dungeon store, go to fire, this is where you'll be able to purchase a fire reforged stone for 28 tokens. So if you don't have it, then can't do anything about that. But if you do have the tokens for them, I would recommend trying that out. Okay, so let's see, anyone else here that I might have missed here. And let's see, so Chromus sucks too, welcome. Yeah, so the stream usually starts 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, and probably will go until about 9:30 this time. And so let's see, anyone else here? So Thamara Figueroa, let's see, and Carafini. Yeah, so the Dragons deck is really good. Let's go and build one out right now. Let's just go and build a team here. So let's see. So if we do the Fire Dragons, what would I do given this sort of meta here? So obviously put in Quilldrak here and put in Argoli Polycap. And would I keep that? I probably would want to have at least one Ember. And like I said, I definitely want to have at least, one other Generation 3 hero. So if I have this set up, then I need to make sure I actually get the right relics as well. So let's get the Fire Commander. And I've got Dragon. So do I have the Dragon relic already in there? So I get the Dragon relic in there. And I'm probably just going to go ahead and put in a Fire Cane in there. Not Fire Cane, Fire Staff. Raise Staff in there. All right, so let's give this a try and see how this all works out. I don't have Fear the spell in this case, though. So, I kind of wanted to. All right, let's get the Fear. But you know what? Instead of using, there's another option as well, right? So if I wanted to dispel Fear, there's another option that I can use Cecilia. The only thing is I'm losing a little bit on the power on the 10 bonus, but she does create 2 Power Gem 3s. So I'm just gonna put her in just for kicks. So let's go ahead and try this out. It's not the pure dragon deck, but really the dragon deck will really only be really powerful if you have the ultra rare card as well, right? So let's take a look and let's go into the guild boss here and let's do a quick fight. And let's see how much damage I'm able to do with this particular setup. This lag is bad. So like when I switch teams, I accidentally click on the card. Okay, so this is the one. So let's see. So you got a free-to-play deck here. I'll take a look in a second. Amara 23. I will take a look at yours as well. I don't recall seeing yours in previous streams. So let's take a look here. And so yes, and the nice thing about having Polycap as well as having Quilldrak in there is that it will also create power gems on turn 1. And so I actually have a one turn deck that I use pretty often. And so let's see here. And so now I'm going to create those power gems. And I guess I probably need to do this now just because I'm probably not going to be able to last another 3 turns. So let's see how much damage this is going to be able to deal. Probably okay. I have 36, 37. So a total of about 3.5 billion. That's not too bad, given that I have, sort of just kind of mix and match there. But really the key here is you just want to make sure that you're powering up your Generation 3 heroes there. All right, so let's now go into Mara 23. And let's see. So, and then afterwards, we will take a look at Chromosuck's card, Burgess Clivus Tresk. So, funny thing, Tresk was actually a one of the words that was in my original in-game name. I don't think people really know what it means. I tried looking up, but I don't really know what that means. So I was really always curious how they came up with these words. Like, when you join the game and then they give you these sort of, initial names. It's always kind of interesting to me how they decide. All right, so, well, you've got the Infernal Mariasaura here, so that is going to really help out there. And you've got Fireflight Thoth. So the only issue is you're not going to be able to get 10 fire gems. You're going to get 5 power gems because you don't have any power gem 4. I don't think it'll create 4 power gem 4s, right? So it creates 3 power gems, 2 power gem 4s. And so maybe if you are able to save your power gem 4s, you could actually power up Thoth. But yeah, so this is a really good card to use. So I think that, not sure if you really need my help here, given that you already have a really strong deck. Yeah, and you've got good cards here. And so I think just mix and match these, give it a try. So, you've got a ton of really good cards here. So let me know what you're having a challenge with. If you're finding that you're just not getting the kind of damage output, then I think, you have Thoth in place. And so if you want to maximize your deck, you'll have to do sort of Tetris type play. Take advantage of the fact that you are generating power gen 4s every time you attack, and make sure that you save those power gen 4s. And as soon as you have 4 of them, activate your Thoth. Then you activate Bosco before you activate the 2 copies of Huntress. So that'll be my recommendation there. All right, so let's take a look at the free-to-play deck. That's really where I think I can provide the most value here. So Burgess Clivus Tresk. And so let's see. Let's take a look at your free-to-play deck here. Probably this one, Fire. So let's see. So you have a Fire Slayer relic here that only gets activated if you have Dren. Is it Dren? I think creates fire. Yeah, as long as Dren is on the team. And so the first thing I would say is, given that you don't have a Dren on the team, I would take out that Fire relic. And you have a Corrupt relic here. So it creates gems as long as there's Corrupt, but I don't see a Corrupt card. So there's a couple of issues I see with the placement of your with your relics. So I would take those 2 out and replace it with something else. And then so you've sort of seen what I've done. So you have Thula and you have Apep. Now Apep is probably not going to help you as much. So let's take a look to see if there's another card that would be useful. And so looking at this right now, you're probably better off using Smoltosaurus rather than Apep. So anytime, any opportunity you have to use Generation 3 heroes, you should do that. And so you've got Huntress Legata, you've got Bosco. So I think Bosco creates 3, and it also gives you the polarity. So let's see, do you have that in your deck? Yeah, so Bosco, Huntress, I would put in Smoltosaurus instead of Apep here. And then it's good to keep your reforged Lepora, and Thula is fine there. So overall, I think you're still going to have just, in general, not a whole lot of power gems, but if you use a Bosco and you use reforged Lepora, is there another card that I would recommend? I would probably recommend you, let's see. Let's take a look at some of the cards that you have not evolved there, if there's anything that would be useful. So that's the commander cards. Let's take a look at the Slayer cards here. And so you got Blazing Glory. So you have the Night Sun. So the thing is, the Night Sun doesn't require you to be 6. You don't need it to be a 6 stars. You can use a Night Sun at 4 stars to achieve the same thing for the Gem Destroy. So if you guys are looking for a Gem Destroyer, and you can actually get this card from the Dust store for 30 Dust, but you don't have to actually evolve this card at all, especially if you're using it in a commander deck. So you can just get him a 4-star. You can immediately use him. So if you're looking for so you could actually even try putting a Night Sun in there just to sort of combine all of the gems and put them, basically destroy them all so that they're all on the bottom, so you can have a better chance of matching them. And I don't see any other cards that would really be as... Oh, and you have Galena here, so you might actually give this a try. You might actually just, try that. Put in Galena and, Night Sun, and then put in, I guess Smoldosaurus will be okay for your Power Gem spawner. Or actually, no, put in Reforged Lepora, Bosco, Huntress, Legata. Try using Galena and your Night Sun and see if that improves your damage actually. So give that a try. I think that'll be interesting. So give that a shot, and let me know how that works out. All right. And so let's see. Now, I know that she had requested, and I kind of skipped over a little bit, but I'm going to go back. Yeah. So let's take a look and see what you've got this time. So share, would this be the one? Probably. So you got a few teams that you're playing with here, and Ember, Morrison. So you've got 2 event cards and 2 support cards. I think the challenge you're having is, the overall power, or overall damage output. And so I see you're using Morrison's, but I think you might be better off just using a Volcanic Coil Drag in this case. So let's see. Yeah, so I think what you're gonna want to do is you probably just want to wait until turn 3 and use Volcanic Coil Drag's ability to create additional gems, Pyro Gems, and then activate Bosco and then your Huntress Legata to at least get about half of the board filled up with Power Gems there, so that you could at least deal some good damage, because you do have 4 Generation 3 heroes there. So give it a try and see how that works out. I think, just looking at some of your other choices, sort of longer term, and obviously you want to, but I'm sort of talking about this without really accounting for all of the spells that you need to do. But I would say in general, Ember Morrison, if you had to, pick between Ember Morrison or Quildrak, go with Quildrak. Like, don't use this card, because you're not getting the benefit of the Master Collection card that way. Okay. And let's see. We got some new people joining the stream as well. So we've got Delisha and Ethan Sayer, Jonas, and Doug Karafi. So welcome here. And I've got viewers from Brazil. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining me here. And let's see. So Night Strike, right? So Night. So that is MWP 48, Night Strike. Oops. Yeah, so what did you guys think? So Let me know also as I'm doing this, because one of my goals is also to make sure that the streams are useful for people who are viewing it live, as well as people who might be coming back to watch afterwards. So I'm probably going to stick with what I've been doing, and that is I'm going to show what I used to show, cards that I do have and what I've built, and sort of play them out, and then reserve sort of half of the stream later then to take a look at other people's cards, so we can give some recommendations. I think this way it gives the people who don't have a chance to watch the stream to come back and sort of be able to benefit from some of the options that I'm giving there. So let me know what you think. It does mean that I'm not going to be able to go through as many, but hopefully as we're going through this over time, we're probably going to be able to sort of get everybody up on the same speed there, and be able to everybody can become great deck builders. Right? So just let me know. Hello, Albert. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. All right, so let's take a look at here. So you got Magma Ventrix. So I think that should be definitely a card that you put in there. And you've got 2 Reforged Flame O'Hare. You've also got the Reforged Stellar Rabbit. I guess you probably went ahead and you got the pack there. So you got a lot of options, really. So now the challenge is there's no Ra in the deck, and that just it like this deck just screams Ra. And so for I guess 1,500 gems, you'll be able to get Ra. So my recommendation is to get him when the starter pack comes out. And then the team that you should be running definitely is Magma Ventrix, Fire Flare, Delopsfera. And you've got the alpha. So I'm not sure if you're waiting to create the ultimate form here. What I've heard is I think it's still I don't know how it works when you forge the ultimate form, whether you still need the support card in there or not. But if you're finding that you're running out of space, you might find benefit in creating this ultimate form, because you're going to give overall more benefit in that way. And then you could put in Fire Flare, and then you've got the Reforged Lapora, as well as Huntress Legata. Or actually I would put in the Reforged Stellar Rabbit, because the Reforged Stellar Rabbit works a lot better in this case, since you're not going to be using Bosco. Do you have Bosco? Yeah, so since you don't have Bosco, I would put in your Reforged Stellar Rabbit to fill in the gems there. So what are you running then, based on what I'm seeing? So you got Reforged Vanguard Contessa. Not sure, you're not really getting any benefit here because it's only buffing the Slayer cards. And so I would I would change the leader, so Magma Ventrix is the leader here at the very minimum. And you have a 4-star Bosco. So I guess you can also put in Bosco there to use the polarity, but take a look at the team I just mentioned and give that a try. So you might see a big increase in your damage output. Okay. And so Debbie Moss. So I guess you should always be listening to me before you go into GVG, right? You can get a copy of this and treat it as a podcast, right? Okay, so so MWP48, that would be my recommendation. Hopefully that helps. And let's see, and happy Easter to everybody. Hope you guys are having a good celebration if you do celebrate it there. And MWP48, that is going to be on a Saturday pack. You'll see a starter pack that contains 8 Pep, Raw, as well as Cobra, King Cobra, or Cobra, I forget the name now. And so let's see. So got to figure out which to sell for UF Dust. So, you need to sell 2 of the Fire Commander cards. So that's the tough part. All right, so let's see. And we got Matt Alexander, welcome to the stream. And let's see. Anyone else that is in the stream here? So Paul Morrison, I just saw your name there. And okay. But before that, I'm going to take a look at Baroness. Baroness is Mita. And then so I'm going to take a look at Tamara's, and then I'm going to take a look at Paul Morrison, and then I will take a look at the latest one I think I see was Matt Alexander. All right, so let's go and take a look at Tamara's deck. So Baroness, Ismida, Drift. Okay. And I just want to take this opportunity to say that, I'm recognizing a lot of the names here. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, familiar names, and that just shows that you guys are, really supportive of the streams here. I'm really happy and really thankful for you guys all. So let's take a look at the deck here. So I see Alpha, Minis, Shinny, Smurfs, GVG Fight Club, Bounty Hunters, Fear. So this is the deck that counters Fear. So you're using Nusku. I noticed that. So is it because Nusku dispels Fear? That would be because Nusku dispels Fear. Otherwise, Nusku isn't really a great card to use. And so let's see. Okay, so let's take a look at the rest of your cards. So I see that you're using Blazing Argoli Polycap and Smolderosaurus. Let's take a look. Depending on the cards, we might be able to get you something a little better. So Crimson Vengeance, you have Crimson Vengeance. I would definitely put her in. And, Lepora by herself, really, really weak because of her battle skill. But I would, if you can reforge her, you're going to benefit significantly from that. So should you use Crimson Vengeance given that you don't have cards that can really create gems? So let's see. So let's take a look again. So you have Huntress, Legata, Smolderosaurus. Okay, so I think that's not actually too bad. Crimson Vengeance really only comes in handy if you have enough gems on the board to really benefit. You want to at least have 10 to 15 so you can get 2 to 3 power gems there. She does also give a 10 times commander bonus there, so she might actually be a little bit better than Morrison's in this case, although you do get a immunity there. And so honestly, based on the cards I'm seeing there, I'm going to take a quick look at your Fire Slayer cards. Can't really see anything that would change there, but you do have the Unbound Marionetta. So Unbound Marionetta creates 4 Power Gen 4s. And so I think you might actually consider putting this card in as well, just as another card that can give you the Power Gem generation that would actually help out. So in some cases, it's better to use a Slayer card just to give you that much more oomph. And Fear isn't really something you need to worry about if you can deal enough damage to take it out on turn 2. And so take a look. Put in the Marionetta just to see if you can get some damage there. Play around with the guild boss and let me know what you think. Okay. So let's see. The next person is going to be Paul Morrison. Let's take a look at Deepman 23. And so another thing that I would recommend when I see people putting the event card as an avatar card, one of the things that you might want to consider is considering that it only provides GVG damage. Some people may choose not to use that card as an ally, so you're probably losing out a little bit on your honor points there because people aren't really using you. If you put in the event card, or if you put in support card instead of the event card, you might get more people choosing to use it. So not Slayer. So let's take a look at the commander card here. And so you've got Bosco, Smolderosaurus, and Flare. So you've got, I think in this case, you don't really have much of a choice here. You might be better off using your Bosco, Smolderosaurus. You might actually get more benefit from using 2 copies of Fire Flare, Delapsfera, because you still get power gem creations here. So Bosco, so you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you get 10 power gems there, plus another plus another 3, and this one will create 5 if you can wait 4 turns. And so I guess now let's take a look at your Slayer cards, because there's not, unfortunately, a lot of... Yeah. So you have Tundra. So I don't know enough about this one. So let's see. So you could potentially also use Tundra, although the sort of created gems when you get hit doesn't work as well when you want to create a lot of power gems. And so I think that, yeah, this is the... You're missing... Do you have Bosco? I already forgot. Fire... Commander. I guess you do have Bosco, so you should put Bosco in there. You should put Bosco in place of one of your Smoldersaurus, just so that you can maximize the number of power gems you have there, and then make sure that you activate Huntress Legata last. All right. Let's see. The next person that I was going to talk to was going to be Matt Alexander. So let's take a look at your cards here. So we're probably going to go a little bit longer than my usual 1 hour there. So thank you for bearing with me here. But I do want to try and make sure that I don't go too long, so that the stream isn't going to be too hard to watch. All right, so let's take a look at your deck here for a second, and afterwards I'm going to take a look at the comments and feedback, and then we're gonna have some more conversations before we sign off for the night. So Fire Commander. So I see you got Smoldersaurus, you got Reforged Flame Foot O'Hare, and Stellar Rabbit. So you should definitely be using all 3 of these. And you got Bosco and Huntress Legata. So you have 2 of them, so you can actually generate some gems there. And you have Ra. So I would do this. Even though you don't have a powered gem 4 spawner currently, I don't believe. Yeah, so you don't. I would still go ahead and put him in. And so what I would do is I would put in the Reforged Lepora and Bosco. And I would put in Ra, Reforged Stellar Rabbit, and Huntress Legata. That's what I would do. So that's the team I would use. Let's see if you're already doing that. So Reforged, yeah, so I would change this team up. I would use Reforged Stellar Rabbit, Reforged Lepora, Bosco, and Huntress Legata, as well as Ra. Ra will still give you 5 power gems and is still helpful to help you with your damage output. So you just have to make sure you activate Reforged Stellar Rabbit and your Huntress Legata last, and you should be able to improve your damage compared to what you have right now. So Sleep Z, thanks a lot. If somebody got problems, well, thank you so much for the recommendation and for the referral. I appreciate that. Again, so if anybody, I'm glad you guys are finding this useful. Again, you can also reach out to me in the network app. I try to be available if I can and help out there. So I think I'm probably going to be stopping, for now in terms of looking at profiles here. I do want to engage with the people. And you know what? I will take that back. There is one person that has always been asking I never really get to. I'm going to take a look at Vishal's cards. So after this one, this is going to be my last one. And then afterwards, I do want to engage a little bit more and talk to you guys before I sign off. Let's take a look at Maverick Raiders cards so that we can help you a lot. And so Vishal, I always see you commenting and also always in the streams as well. So just want to say thanks for your support. And so let's take a look at what you've got here. So I see you have Magva Ventrix. That is such a great card. I'm just so glad that I was able to get that card. It's just so helpful for sort of this meta here. And so the thing about the combination of Magva Ventrix and Smoldersaurus is if you want to play that deck, that's fine. It's a little bit slower. You have to wait for 5 turns. And so if you're able to, then yes, you can keep it in there. I just kind of feel like it's such a shame. It's a waste of a slot here. But if you have Magma Ventrix and you've got Ra there, so those are the 2 you should keep in there. And then I think what you should do then is you should put Bosco, Fire Flare, and then the Huntress Legata. So that would be one option. Or if you wanted to Magma Ventrix, Ra, Bosco, I think I would actually go with that because that would give you a full board full of gems. power gems. And are you already doing that? Let's see. So the only thing I would change is take out Smoldosaurus, and I would put in you know, Huntress Legata there for additional gems there, and also the 10 times bonus. This will give you a good 2-turn damage output. You might even be able to, do pretty well against the solo legend bosses up to a certain point. And then at some point you might need to switch out a little bit. And I would say when Ra comes in the shop, get him so you can fill up the deck with 2 Ra's, and you'll be doing well there. Okay. All right, so let's see. So so Albert, I appreciate you waking up really early to watch the stream. I know it's a 5:30 a.m. there, so I appreciate it. And one of the things I do want to try and do is to find a time that works. Maybe sometime over the weekend. I think over the weekend we might have another type of stream where we can just kind of chat about the game and chat about the event more, and maybe also some chances to sort of talk about your decks and things like that. All right, and so Antonio Tino, I think you might need to give me your. Okay, so I'm gonna I'll take note of your tag name, and what I'll do is I'll just message you afterwards, because I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on taking a look at the comments here, and it is 9:35, so I'm probably going to end this in the next couple of minutes there. All right. And so let's see, and so Sleeves, it's. I surprisingly, I actually have quite a few people that are, that are watching from Germany, and I'm really, really, just honored and surprised by it. I'm just blown away by the diversity of the player base, and like we're all over the world here. And I actually passed through Germany when I went to Italy last year, and I've always wanted to go check out Germany. Just heard great things, and I've always wanted, and one of my guildmates for that I played with a long time was from Germany as well, and I keep hearing about it. So just thank you for putting up with the times and waking up early to watch the live stream. Thanks a lot. Jonas Philo, so you have a suggestion: try to make a video with deck ideas to fight against GVG deck with cudgels. They're very difficult to beat. I think it will help deck. Sure, that's a good idea. I don't do guild versus guild very much. I mean, I do them, but I'm not very good at it. So you're probably just gonna end up watching me do the same thing for 30 minutes straight. But I'll see what I can do there. And let's see. And so Matt Alexander, so generally the sequence for battle skills, I think based on what I remember, it's just, power gem spawners first, and then your regular gen spawners afterwards. I don't think I saw anything that was too confusing to do beyond that. Event card for this particular event I know has a new mechanic. I haven't really figured out because I haven't played it, but hopefully it works out for you there. And so Doug Carafini, so okay. Yeah. All right, so thanks everybody. So I think I'm probably just going to call it a night here, or stop the stream for those of you who woke up early. I appreciate it again. And so it is a little bit harder because I do have people from the East Coast that at this point it is 12:30 for them, so it's difficult. So I think maybe a different time would help. But again, just really appreciate. Thank you all for joining and for listening here. And Mario Natera, I think, since I missed you, so any of you who I missed in this particular stream, feel free to just reach out to me on the network app and just send me a quick message, a screenshot of the team that you're running with, and then I'll try to provide you some recommendations as well, if I can. So, couldn't get through everybody, unfortunately, but I will definitely do what I can to help out. All right. So thank you very much. And, so just, off the top of my head, I know there's South Africa and Brazil and Germany and, East Coast, West Coast. I'm not sure where else people are from, but just thank you so much for joining, and have a good night. Take care, and I will see you in the next episode. All right. Bye now.